The gift. No one wanted. The ground shook gently as the massive alien ship landed outside the human outpost on planet Virene 9. Dust rose in the air. Lights flickered. People gathered at a safe distance, staring at the unknown craft. It wasn't normal for a royal alien vessel to visit such a remote human settlement. Jace, a young human mechanic, stood outside his workshop, wiping his greasy hands on a cloth. He didn't care much for politics or alien drama. His job was to fix machines. But today his life was about to change forever. The ramp of the ship lowered. Tall alien guards stepped out wearing silver armor and glowing visors. They carried something between them. No, someone. A woman. She was tall, elegant, and alien. Her skin was pale blue with faint silver patterns like a night sky. Her long hair flowed like liquid metal. She was unconscious, her wrists gently bound. With glowing cuffs, the alien commander stepped forward and looked straight at Jace. Human Jace Thorne, you are hereby rewarded by the House of Zelvira for your assistance in repairing our war vessel last cycle. Jace blinked. Okay, you're welcome. The commander nodded. As is tradition, a royal gift is given. This is Princess Nylari, formerly of the Zelvira throne. Jace's eyes widened. Formerly. She was declared infertile. Useless to the bloodline. She has no place in our court. Now she is yours. Before Jace could protest, the guards placed her gently on the ground and stepped back. The ramp retracted, and the ship took off into the sky without another word. The Raig crowd was silent. What the hell am I supposed to do with a princess? Jace muttered. Hours later, Jace had carried her into his small home beside the workshop. He removed the cuffs and placed her on a soft bed. She hadn't woken up yet. Her face was calm, but there was pain beneath it. Her features were beautiful, but something about her looked broken, like a bird with clipped wings. Jace sat nearby, trying to understand what just happened. He didn't want a gift, especially not a person. This felt wrong. But he couldn't just send her away. She had nowhere to go. By nightfall she stirred. Her eyes opened, large and glowing silver. They darted around in confusion, then fixed on Jace. You're safe, he said gently. I'm not going to hurt you. She stared at him in silence. I'm Jace. You're Nylari, right? No reply. Just silence. You were given to me, he said slowly. But I didn't ask for that. I'm not your master or anything. You're free here. You can rest, eat, leave when you want. Still no words. But her eyes softened, just a little. Over the next few days, Nylari remained quiet. She didn't speak, but she listened. She watched Jace work on machines, fix broken generators, help townsfolk. She saw him share food with children, help an old woman carry water, and always speak kindly. She had never known kindness in the palace. There, everything was power, status, and cold judgment. When the royal seers declared her infertile, Father the king didn't even argue. He exiled her, tossed her away like trash, a disgrace to the bloodline. One evening, Jace found her standing outside, staring at the stars. You okay? He asked. She didn't answer. He stood beside her. I don't know why your people thought giving a person as a gift was a good idea. She spoke at last. Her voice was soft and deep. Because they thought you wouldn't care. Jace looked at her. They were wrong. She turned to him, her face unreadable. I was once to be queen, but I couldn't give them an heir. That made me worthless. That's not how I see it, Jace said simply. You're not a machine, you're a person. Something shimmered in her eyes and she looked away quickly. That night, Nylari sat on the bed, her fingers running over the blanket. It was soft, warm. Everything about this place was simple, but full of peace. She didn't feel like property. Here. For the first time in many years, she didn't feel afraid to sleep. In the shadows of space, a small probe drifted silently near the human outpost. It blinked once, recording the image of the princess alive and well, and then sent a signal back to the stars. Someone was watching, and the king would not be pleased. The broken crown. The sun rose red on Vereen 9, casting long shadows across Jace's metal workshop. Inside, machines hummed quietly. Jace worked on a damaged power coil, but his mind kept drifting. He glanced at the small guest room every few minutes. Princess Nylari had stayed silent for days, but not cold. She watched everything, absorbing details like a scanner. She wasn't used to being ignored, and yet, Jace never treated her like someone special, or like a burden. That was strange, and strangely comforting. This morning, however, something was different. Jace was bent over a rusted coolant line when he heard it. A scream. He dropped his tools and ran. The scream had come from Nylari's room. He kicked open the door and froze. Nylari was kneeling on the floor, her hands clutching her head. Her whole body trembled. Her royal mark, glowing like fire, was shining bright red on her neck. "Hey, are you hurt?" Jace rushed to her. She didn't answer. Her breaths were sharp, painful. Her eyes were wide, lost in memory. Jace didn't touch her. He didn't know if it would help or hurt more. So he sat nearby and spoke softly. "You're safe now. No one here will hurt you." Slowly the glow faded. She collapsed forward and Jace caught her before she hit the floor. Hours later she opened her eyes. She lay on the bed covered in a warm blanket. Jace sat on the chair beside her waiting. "I saw him," she whispered. "Your father?" Jace asked. She nodded. "He gave the order. To remove me. He said I was defective. My womb. They believed it couldn't carry life. He didn't question the verdict. He didn't even look at me." She touched the mark on her neck, which now glowed faintly blue. "This crown means nothing now. I'm not a princess, not even a daughter." Jace was quiet for a moment, then said, "Then maybe it's time you made your own crown." She looked at him confused. "You don't need a throne to be someone. You just need purpose." She stared at him like she'd never heard those words before. Something stirred in her chest, not rage, not sorrow, but something close to hope. Later, that day, she asked to help him with repairs. Jace was surprised, but he handed her a small tool. She held it awkwardly at first. "I was trained to command ships, not fix them." "Good," he smiled, "because I'm terrible at taking orders." She gave a tiny smirk. It was the first smile he'd seen from her. As they worked together, she asked him questions about tools, about human systems, about why he chose to live so far from Earth. "People here don't care about bloodlines," he said. "They care about what you can do." That night, while she was cleaning a damaged circuit board, she paused suddenly. Her hand shook. There was a warmth inside her belly. A small flutter. It couldn't be. Her kind didn't heal from infertility. It was genetic, permanent. And yet, something was different. She didn't tell Jace. Not yet. She needed to be sure. The next morning, while Jace was out delivering parts, Nylari activated an old medical scanner from his storage. It was outdated but functional. She placed the scanner. On her abdomen, a light flashed. Life detected. Her heart stopped. Her breath caught in her throat. It was faint. Early. But the reading was clear. She was pregnant. She staggered back, hitting the wall behind her. This should have been impossible. But it wasn't. Jace had somehow sparked something inside her that her people believed was lost forever. Back on her homeworld, the king of Zelvira sat on his throne. Silent as a shadow stepped into the court. "My lord," the spy drone's controller whispered. "The princess is not only alive, she is with child." The king's eyes widened in fury. "With a human's child?" The whisper confirmed it. The king's fists clenched. "This is treason, a stain on royal blood. Gather the Deathwings. Burn that outpost to the ground. Bring me my daughter." He stood, voice turning cold as ice. "And bring me the bastard heir. Alive." Signs of life night fell across Vereen 9 like a blanket of silence. Inside Jace's small home, the room was dimly lit. A soft hum from old machines filled the background, but Princess Nylari's heart beat louder than anything. She sat alone on the bed holding the old scanner in her hands. The words still glowed on its tiny cracked screen. Life detected. Species, Zelviran human hybrid. It was real. A life inside her. A new life never meant to exist. Her fingers trembled as she touched her belly. Her people had cast her aside, calling her empty. But now, growing quietly within her, was a child they said she could never carry. Not just any child. A child with royal blood and human spirit. Jace returned a little after midnight. He looked tired but smiled when he saw her awake. "I fixed the coolant system in the west field," he said. "Took longer than I thought." He noticed she was holding the scanner. "Everything okay?" Nylari hesitated. Then, slowly, she turned the screen toward him. Jace leaned in, then froze. His eyes locked on the words. "Is that—" "Yes," she whispered. "It's yours." Silence fell between them like a hammer. Jace backed up, stunned. "How? I mean, is this even possible?" "I don't know," she said. "By my people's science. It shouldn't be. But it's real, and it's happening." Jace sat down, rubbing his hands through his hair. He looked at her, confused, but not angry. "Are you okay with this?" he finally asked. "I don't know," she replied honestly. "But it's a miracle, and I won't let anyone take it from me." Jace nodded slowly. "Then we protect it no matter what." The next morning, an alert buzzed through Jace's old warning system. An object had entered Vereen 9's orbit. Fast, silent, watching. Jace checked the sky feed. His face turned pale. It was a royal scout drone. Nylari's eyes darkened. "They found me." They moved quickly. Jace gathered supplies. Food, tools, a backup scanner, a portable shelter pod. Nylari grabbed Jace's old plasma rifle and checked the charge like a trained soldier. "I thought you were a princess," he said. "I was, but in the Zelviran court, every royal is trained to kill before they learn to rule." They packed everything into Jace's rusted hover truck and vanished into the alien forest. Behind them, high in the sky, the drone blinked and sent a silent signal back to the stars. 3 days passed. Deep in the wilds of Vereen 9, Jace and Nylari built a hidden camp. They found shelter in an old mining cave, lined with crystal veins that blocked tracking signals. Inside the cave, Nylari grew weaker. The pregnancy was progressing faster than normal. The hybrid child was growing at 3 times the usual rate. Her alien body struggled to keep up. Jace stayed by her side day and night. He cooked. He repaired their shield generator. He whispered stories from Earth when she couldn't sleep. In those quiet moments, something deeper grew between them. It wasn't just protection anymore. It was love. But peace didn't last. One evening, while Jace was out gathering fuel cells, Nylari heard a high-pitched whine echo through the cave. She grabbed the scanner. 3 unknown heat signatures. Close. She pressed her back against the wall, rifle in hand, her breath tight. The shadows moved, and then, a hiss. 3 Zelviran, royal assassins, stepped into the cave wearing black armor and glowing visors. They were Deathwings, silent killers loyal only to the king. "Princess Nylari," one of them said coldly, "you've caused great dishonor." She raised the rifle. "Come any closer and I'll paint this cave with your bones." "You carry an abomination," the assassin said. "The king demands its removal, and your return." Her finger tightened on the trigger. Then, bang. A plasma shot roared through the air. One assassin dropped instantly. Jace stood at the cave entrance, smoking, rifle in hand. "You forgot about me." Chaos broke out. Blasts lit the cave with blue and red light. Nylari fought like a wild storm, her every move precise and deadly. Jace backed her up, taking out the second assassin with a shot to the chest. The last Deathwing tried to escape, but Nylari grabbed his neck and growled, Tell my father his gift is now carrying the future. She let him go. Now run! He vanished into the forest, injured and terrified. After the battle, Jace rushed to Nylari's side. She was bleeding, but not badly. Still, something wasn't right. She clutched her belly and whispered, "The baby?" Jace helped her lie down and scanned her. The heartbeat was strong. The baby had survived, but Nylari's strength was fading. "We have to move again," she said. "He won't stop now. He'll come himself." Jace nodded grimly. "Then let him come." He looked at her, pale, fierce, beautiful, and added, "But this time, we won't run, we fight." The king's wrath in the dark throne chamber of Zelvira Prime. The king stood still, staring at the giant crystal screen. On it, a live feed played from the Deathwing's helmet cam before it shut down. Princess Nylari. Alive, armed, pregnant, and standing beside a human male. The king's fingers curled into a tight fist. The chamber grew colder. His advisors stood silent. No one dared speak. The king's voice echoed across the stone walls. She was thrown to the dirt, a discarded branch. Yet now, she grows a fruit from it? He turned slowly. His eyes, icy blue and ancient, were filled with fire. She dares defy royal order. She dares breed with a low-born alien. And worse, she has created an heir outside of blood purity. He slammed his staff down. The chamber shook. "Send the Iron Fleet. I will go myself." On Virine 9, Jace patched up Nylari's shoulder wound. She winced but didn't cry out. "The baby's fine," he reassured her, brushing her hair gently. "But you lost a lot of energy." Nylari looked into his eyes. "He won't stop." "I know," Jace replied. "But I'm ready." Suddenly, the sky above them roared. Jace ran outside and looked up. A black hole of shadow covered the moonlight. A massive royal dreadnought descended from orbit. At its center, the Zelvaran royal crest burned in bright gold. The king had come. People in nearby colonies panicked as the dreadnought's engines shook the planet's surface. Broadcast towers lit up. A royal message flashed across all screens. "People of Virine 9, you shelter a traitor. You protect a stolen princess. Return her now, or burn with her." Jace stood at the cliff's edge beside Nylari. She had her plasma rifle in one hand and rested the other on her growing belly. "I won't hide anymore," she said softly. "I've hidden my whole life, but not now." Jace glanced at her, then reached into his pack. He pulled out a small black cube. "What's that?" she asked. "My last resort," Jace said. "A shield core from a Titan-class mech. I've been saving it for emergencies." "You call this an emergency?" He smirked. "It's a bit more than a flat tire." That night, the dreadnought sent a small envoy, an armored walker that landed outside the forest clearing where Jace and Nylari had built their latest camp. From it stepped a single figure. Tall, dressed in obsidian robes, wearing a crown of living metal. The king of Zelvira had arrived. Guards stayed behind. He walked alone. "I did not expect you to look well," he said to Nylari, his voice cold. She faced him, not bowing. "I was dying in your palace, now I live." He looked at her stomach. "That is no heir, it's a threat." "It's your grandson," she snapped. Jace stepped between them. "You're not taking her." The king blinked slowly. "You, a mechanic, dare speak to me?" "No," Jace said calmly. "I dare protect her." The king looked at Nylari. "Come home, daughter. I will forgive your rebellion, but the child must be removed." Nylari raised her weapon. "Then you'll have to kill me too." The king's lips curled. "So be it." Without warning, the dreadnought opened fire. Explosions ripped through the forest. Jace activated the Titan shield core, creating a shimmering blue dome around them. Trees burned, rocks shattered. But inside the dome, the princess and her unborn child were untouched. Jace held her hand. "We have until sunrise. After that, this shield will die." Nylari looked out at the flames. "Then we make a stand. Right here." Inside, the dreadnought, The king watched from a high command tower. "Prepare the Iron Guard," he ordered. "We end this at dawn." But far across space, unknown to the king, a signal had been sent. The hybrid child's unique DNA had triggered an old beacon, one buried deep in galactic memory, a forgotten law, a lost prophecy. And now, something ancient was awakening, something that did not bow to kings. The chase through stars, the jungle burned behind them. Ash fell like black snow. Jace gripped the steering handles of the hover sled as it sped through twisted alien trees. Nylari held on tightly behind him, her one hand resting protectively on her stomach. The air was hot. The shield was gone. The king's army was right behind them. The dreadnought had launched its elite hunters, the Iron Guard. Half machine, half soldier, they didn't sleep. They didn't speak. They only followed orders, and their only order was, "Bring back the child, or burn everything in your way." High above, royal drones flew in formation, scanning for heat signatures. They picked up the hover sled's trail and locked in. A red beam shot down, exploding near their path. The hover sled flipped. Jace and Nylari rolled hard across the muddy ground. He groaned and crawled to her. "You okay?" he asked, wiping blood from her cheek. "I'm fine," she said, holding her side. "But they're too fast." From the smoke behind them, tall armored shapes emerged, glowing red eyes. The Iron Guard. "Run!" Jace shouted. They ran into a narrow cave system, ducking through cracks in stone walls. Their boots splashed through shallow water. "We won't outrun them forever," Nylari panted. "They're made for war." "I'm not trying to outrun them," Jace said, pulling a strange device from his bag. "I'm trying to lead them." He tossed the device deeper into a tunnel. It beeped, then exploded, collapsing the cave behind them. "That'll buy us a few minutes." "You could have warned me," Nylari gasped. "Where's the fun in that?" For a moment, even in danger, she laughed. They emerged on the other side of the mountain into a dry canyon. Above them, stars began to shift. A strange pattern formed. Nylari looked up and gasped. "That symbol." "What?" Jace asked. "That's not a star cluster. It's a beacon. It's ancient. Forbidden." He followed her gaze. "It's pointing somewhere." She nodded slowly. "To a sanctuary." Jace blinked. "A what?" "An old rebel sanctuary from before the Zelvira Empire. It only activates when a royal hybrid is born." He frowned. "So, like a safe house for people like our child?" She nodded. "It hasn't been seen in over 1,000 years." "Then I guess we're going," Jace said. "But the path leads into orbit," she warned. "We'll need a ship." Jace pulled out a communicator. "Already called one." Minutes later, an old stealth shuttle, painted black and patched with human tech, descended from the clouds. A robotic voice crackled from the speakers. "Jace, you still breathing?" The ship belonged to Lexa, Jace's smuggler friend from the outer colonies. She opened the hatch. "You're late," she smirked, pulling a toothpick from her mouth. "And you brought a queen, huh?" "She's not a queen anymore," Jace said. Lexa looked at Nylari's stomach and raised an eyebrow. "Looks like she's about to be something bigger." They blasted off into space. Below them, the Iron Guard fired helplessly. Drones chased but fell behind. Jace guided the ship into deep orbit, following the star beacon pattern Nylari remembered from ancient scrolls. Behind them, the king's dreadnought changed direction. "He's following us," Nylari said quietly. "He'll follow until one of us dies," Jace replied. "Let's make sure it's him." Hours passed in silence as stars blurred around them. Suddenly their ship shook. An invisible wall, a cloaked gateway, shimmered into view. "It's here," Nylari said. Lexa stared. "That is a wormhole. Wrapped in dark matter. I've never seen anything like this." Nylari touched the screen. "It's the last place the royal bloodline can't reach unless one of them is already inside." The wormhole pulsed like a heartbeat. Without waiting, Jace pushed the throttle. They vanished into light. On the other side, they entered a silent galaxy. Dead planets floated in the dark. But ahead, a green and blue world spun peacefully. It glowed with warmth and energy. The ship's computer scanned it. Atmosphere, breathable. Tech signature, ancient. Power source, unknown. It's real, Nylari whispered. The sanctuary planet. They began descent, but behind them a tier opened in space. The royal dreadnought followed them in. The king was not going to lose his daughter. Not now. Not ever. Birth of the heir. The sanctuary planet looked peaceful from space, but peace was only a mask. As Jace's ship landed on the soft green fields, the skies behind them cracked open with thunder. The king's dreadnought had followed. He brought fire. He brought war. And Nylari was already in labor. Inside an ancient stone temple hidden beneath the trees, Jace laid her down on a glowing slab of crystal. It lit up the moment she touched it, reacting to her bloodline. Symbols appeared across the walls. Languages long forgotten, warning of an ancient truth. The hybrid shall not be destroyed. The hybrid shall be the bridge, Nylari screamed in pain. Sweat rolled down her face, her claws dug into the stone. I need help, Jace shouted, turning to Lexa. Lexa shook her head. I've smuggled cargo, not delivered babies. You're gonna learn. Fast. The walls of the sanctuary shook as the dreadnought fired blasts from orbit. Outside, iron guards began landing in drop pods, marching, silent, ruthless. Jace placed a force field around the temple entrance using the last of their power cells. It'll hold for a few minutes, he muttered. That's all we've got. Nylari's cries grew louder. Her body was changing fast. The baby was coming too soon, but it wasn't weakness. It was power. The child inside her was different, a mix of two great species, human resilience. Selviran, energy. The glowing light in the chamber grew brighter as if the temple itself knew what was coming. Nylari gritted her teeth. Don't let them take him. Jace held her hand. They won't. Outside, the king stepped onto the planet, wearing ancient armor passed down from the founders of the empire. His eyes burned with fury. The Iron Guard marched behind him, surrounding the temple. Seal it. Bring me the child, he ordered. An engineer connected a dark energy core to a bomb at the entrance. It'll breach the shield in 60 seconds. The king raised his head toward the sky. I warned them. Now, the bloodline ends here. Inside the glowing temple, Jace held Nylari as she gave one last cry of pain, and then suddenly, silence. A new sound filled the room, a baby's cry. Loud, strong, echoing like thunder across the temple walls. Nylari collapsed back, tears falling freely. Is he? Jace held the child in his arms. A boy, blue skin with golden lines like lightning. But something else too. His eyes opened, and they glowed silver, just like hers, with a spark of green. Human green. The child looked around, alert, calm, as if he had already seen everything. At that moment, the temple itself reacted. A beam of light shot into the sky. It struck the dreadnought above, blinding its systems. The Iron Guards froze mid-step, confused. And then, the baby cried again. Boom! A wave of invisible force blasted outward from the temple. The ground shook. Trees bent. Iron Guards were flung into the air like toys. The king staggered backward, his armor sparking. What is this? He growled. A voice echoed from the planet itself. You called him a mistake. We call him destiny. Jace stepped out of the temple doorway carrying the newborn, standing tall as the dust settled. The king stood face to face with him. That child belongs to the throne, he said coldly. No, Jace replied. He belongs to a better future. The king raised his hand, ready to strike, but then paused. The child stared at him. A strange energy pulsed in the air. The king's armor cracked. A blast of ancient power forced him to his knees. Not from violence, from Truth. He saw the markings. The prophecy. The blood of Zelvira had chosen. But not him. Not anymore. The king lowered his head. He had lost. But more than that, he had been wrong. Nylari stepped beside Jace, weak but standing. This child is not the end of our bloodline, she said. He is the beginning. Above them, the sanctuary stars began to shift again, forming a new symbol in the sky. A crown made of two hands. One human, one alien. Together, the king must kneel. The battlefield was silent. Smoke curled in the air. Burnt soil crackled beneath. The boots of defeated soldiers. The Iron Guard stood frozen, not destroyed but inactive, as if awaiting a new command. Jace stood at the center of the chaos, holding his newborn son. Beside him, Nylari stood tall, her body weak but her presence stronger than ever. Her silver eyes burned with purpose. Before them, on one knee, knelt the king of Zelvira, his royal armor, cracked and dim, his voice, quiet for the first time in his life, and his crown, in his hand, not on his head. He looked up, eyes locking, with Nylari's. This child, the king whispered, he carries something I never understood. Nylari's voice was steady. You called me broken, you threw me away. I feared weakness, the king said. But this child, he is stronger than anything born in the palace. Jace stepped forward. Because he was born of choice, not command. Born in love, not in control. The baby let out a small sound, calm, almost curious. His eyes locked onto the king's. And then, something unexpected happened. The king's hand trembled, not from fear, but from shame. He lowered his crown to the ground. I have ruled 1,000 worlds, he said, but I do not deserve to rule this one. The ground beneath them shifted slightly. The ancient temple responded to the baby's presence again. Crystals on its walls pulsed, and a new light spread outward across the planet. Invisible waves of energy shot into the sky. Across distant star systems, silent machines buried in forgotten moons activated. Holograms flickered to life. Messages, once sealed, now played. The bridge child has come. The blood of 2 worlds will lead the next. The universe had been waiting for him. Later that evening, the dreadnought departed, but it no longer carried the king in power. It carried a man in reflection. The king had left his title behind. He named Nylari his heir, not just of Zelvira, but of something greater. She did not accept the throne. She chose something else. In the following days, Nylari and Jace stayed on the sanctuary planet. They named the child Kyle, a word from both human and Zelviran languages, meaning hope reborn. Kale grew quickly, more advanced than any child either had seen. His first words came within weeks. His touch healed small wounds. And when he laughed, the entire forest seemed to echo with life. News spread across the galaxy. A once disgraced princess. A human mechanic, and a child who could change the stars. Some laughed, some feared, but many believed. Colonies that had once stayed silent now asked to learn from Nylari's teachings. Mixed-race schools were opened. Forbidden science was shared freely. Alien and human hands shook for the first time, not in trade, but in trust. On the anniversary of Kale's birth, leaders from over 40 systems gathered on the sanctuary world. They came not to fight, but to witness a new beginning. Jace stood on a carved stone platform, holding his son. We were never meant to rule by blood, he said, but by understanding. We were never meant to divide by species, but to connect. Nylari stood beside him, dressed in royal white and gold, a peaceful symbol, not a warrior, but a guide. Kyle walked between them, small, glowing, smiling. He reached out and took the hands of 2 leaders, one human, one alien, and the galaxy saw its future in his unity. Years passed and legends grew. They spoke of the child who changed everything, of the man who fixed machines and mended hearts, of the princess who was once unwanted and became the mother of peace. They called it The Day the King Kneeled. But Kyle never wore a crown. He never needed one. The stars had already named him heir to hope.